Now Nate will demonstrate the proper donning of SCBA and the safety checks prior to going into an ideal H environment. Nate has already ensured that his air cylinder is full. Nate removes his mask from his pouch and places it on, and he checks to make a good seal by covering up the regulator orifice and breathing in, verifying no air leakage. Nate opens the cylinder valve completely and then closes it completely. Nate listened for 3 chirps, indicating that his pass device is working and active. Nate also looked at his heads-up display in his regulator to make sure that all the lights came on. Nate took a good breath in, activating the air saver switch. Then he checked the purge valve by opening the purge valve fully, which is a quarter turn. Then Nate breathes down the bottle. Towards the end of the bottle, he ensured that the vibrate alert activated when it got to a low level. Since there's no air in the cylinder system, it should adhere to his face firmly. At this point, Nate opens the cylinder fully and leaves it open. Nate checks his remote gauge to ensure that he has a full cylinder of air. Now Nate is ready to go to work. Alright, so right now what we're going to do is just demonstrate the daily check that you should be doing on your SCBA when you come in the morning, just to make sure that everything is there. Remember, the more extensive check is on the weekly, so this is just a real brief thing to get you going. So the first thing you're going to do when you get on is to make sure that the cylinder is full, or at least 4,000 pounds of working pressure, so you've got enough time to get work done. Then the next thing you want to do is make sure that all the straps are fully extended and that the harness is ready to go. Then make sure the purge valve is closed and the air saver switch is pressed so you don't get any leaks in the system when you power it. And then make sure it's in the seat or in the compartment in the engine and set up for rapid deployment. And really what you're doing is a visual inspection to make sure that all the components are there and it all looks clean, serviceable, and ready to go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is go over the weekly inspection of your SCBA. And of course the weekly inspection starts with doing a daily, which we've already gone over. So you do your daily inspection and then move right into the weekly. And there is no monthly inspection. The monthly is the same as a weekly inspection. So there's nothing additional. So again, that starts with ensuring that the purge valve is closed and your air saver switch is closed so you don't have air leakage. And then go ahead and apply your mask. While you're disconnecting this, check to make sure that this O-ring here is where you get your majority of your seals is in good condition. There's not a lot of cracks. We find that those sometimes have problems, and that the cap on that is still on the holder and not embedded here. So then go ahead and apply your mask. A good click. And then you're going to charge the bottle up. And of course we've already made sure that there's at least 4,000 pounds of pressure in the system when we did our dailies. So what you heard is the vibrate alert going off, and that's the startup process for the vibrate alert. And you heard 3 chirps from the pass system, meaning that was activating and self-checking. And you want to make sure those 2 things happen. The vibrate alert vibrates, and the pass alarm has the 3 chirps. Next, what you're going to do is go ahead and make sure that your HUD display is working. And that's the lights in the face mask. And if you have to see it to be able to do it, you can pull it off. But what you're going to see in the startup is all the lights coming on for 20 seconds. So there'll be 4 lights here. And then there'll be a red light at the far right. And those will come on and stay on for 20 seconds. After 20 seconds, they'll go back to the normal operation and show you how much air you have in your cylinder, as well as whether you have a low battery or not. Now the far right is a right light. If it goes out after 20 seconds, your battery for the HUD system is good. If it's blinking, then you have a low battery condition, and you're still able to work for it if you're going into a fire, but you're going to need to change it. If you're doing your weekly as we are now, you'll want to change that battery out. And if it's solid red, that means the battery's about to go out completely, and you shouldn't be working in a fire with that, and you should be changing that right away. Right? And then eventually you just won't have any light displays at all because the battery will be dead. So as this shows, you've got 2 green lights, which indicates that your cylinder is full, at least 4,000 pounds. If it were 1 green light, then that would be 3/4 full. When the orange light starts blinking, that's a half full. And then when the red blinks or comes on, that's when you have 1/4 of a cylinder left. And then you should get your vibrator alert going off also to give you additional warning. So the things I'm going to do when I don the face mask is I'm going to activate the air saver switch by taking a breath, make sure that works right. I'm going to activate the purge knob and make sure that I'm getting good airflow with the purge knob. And then I'm also going to pull the mask away from my face and make sure I get free flowing air. So it was good. We got a free flow of air, the purge knob worked right, and the air saver switch activated when I took a breath in. So that's all good. So now we're going to let the system go into, the pass alarm go into activation mode. Make sure it's fully operating. Good, so it went into full activation. And then we're going to check the manual switch to make sure the manual switch works in case of an emergency. And that worked good. Okay, next what we're going to do is we're going to close the system. And you can go ahead and take your mask off at this point. You're done with that. You're going to bleed the system out. And what we're going to do is we're going to make sure the HUD system is, as it bleeds down, is giving you the same reading as your remote gauge. So you should get full, 3/4, half, quarter, and then full alarm mode on the vibrate alert. So we're going to watch both as it goes down. Two greens indicating full. One green light indicating 3/4 of a cylinder tank left. Blinking orange light indicates you're at half volume on your cylinder, and you should be at about half on your gauge. Red light and vibration when you're at 1/4 all the way down to 0. And then bleed it off. And then bleed off the rest of the air system. Reset your alarm. And reset the system. So now what I'm going to do is go over the battery replacement, and anytime there's a problem with the SCBAs, if you can replace a battery and that fixes the problem, that's cool. If it doesn't fix the problem and it's more substantial than a battery, then don't do anything else. Put a red tag on it, shoot me an email, red tag it and put it in the SCBA shed, and just let me know that it's been written up and taken out of service, and put a new one in service. Really all you should have to do out in the field is just replace batteries. Anything more than that, and a tech should handle the repairs. So the first thing is just the the voice vector, the voice amplifier battery. That takes a 9-volt battery. If you don't get a green light, the battery needs to be replaced. Right? You just unscrew these screws, take out the old one, put in a new 9-volt battery. And it doesn't really matter which brand 9-volt battery this takes. The next thing is the heads-up display or the HUD system. The lights in your heads-up display are run by batteries, and the battery and the electronics for the HUD system is all enclosed in this working mechanism right here. So if the HUD light, the battery indicator, shows that it's a low battery by being blinking or a solid red on the far right side, you need to change this battery. If the HUD display doesn't work at all, no lights come on, then it's probably still a battery issue. The low battery warning has probably been on for a while and it just hasn't been noticed. So to replace the battery, you're going to take a Phillips head screwdriver, open it up, take the old batteries out, and on the side it tells you which direction the batteries go in. One goes in with the positive up and one goes in with the negative up. You grab your new batteries, put them in the same way. One up, one down is indicated there. Close it back up with the watertight seal, and you're good to go. And you should test your system to make sure that the heads-up display is working after you change the batteries. The next batteries are encased in here, and what they run is the pass device. So your pass obviously looks for motion and activation and gives you the alarm. That's run by the battery down here. So what you need to do is push that out of the way, press on this tab, and slide this whole module out. And it'll twist a little bit so you can get it upside down. And then you'll need a small Phillips head screwdriver and take this off. And when you're doing this, try and be careful. These screws easily get stripped out. And I don't have very many extras of them, and you can't actually just buy the screws. You got to buy a whole set. And when you replace the batteries, they have to be replaced with a specific type of Duracell batteries. And there'll be information on this slide about what batteries they are. They're NIOSH and ANSI approved and tested with certain equipment, and it has to be the batteries that they were tested with. 2 9-volt batteries, they just pop out, and new ones go in their place, and behind it, it tells you how they're inserted, which side is positive and which side is negative. And then the cover goes back on, and the writing on the cover is the same direction as the writing on the base, so you know which way it goes. Alright, so the donning, the doffing, the pre-entry into the IDLH, the daily, the weeklies, are all based upon the operating and maintenance instructions for the Scott air packs that Scott puts out. So it parallels the information in here. If you want a copy of this, just let me know and I'll shoot you over an electronic version or print one out. But all the information comes directly from the Scott manuals. And then we have 2 SOP EOPs. One covers the weekly checks, the daily, weekly checks, and the general usage. And that is SOP 105050. It's on the Q drive, as well as for emergency use, the EOP for self-contained breathing apparatus is 204.01, and that also is on the Q drive.